Well, we'll continue with the labor mobility case. And I have already introduced you the basics of the model. Um, well, if marginal productivity of labor is low in a country, basically the people will flow to the other country. And as they flow to other country, in the other country, marginal productivity of the labor will fall, which will decrease the wage in that country, and the marginal productivity of the labor in the source country will basically increase. And basically, this will continue up to the point when um, the marginal productivity of labor in both countries will become equal to each other. Of course, this is the case if there are no other factors that are actually changing marginal productivity of labor in those countries. Maybe it is the human skills that are available in that first country, or in the more productive country, or the capital is increasing marginal productivity of labor, and existing production level might actually continue to increase the productivity of labor in the country where workers are flowing. And also, I mean, actually, ideally, we might also say that the stop will occur somewhere before the marginal productivity gets equal to each other. Because there might be also some implicit cost of traveling. So just to have a wage difference doesn't mean necessarily people are going to that foreign country. That wage difference might need to be larger than a certain amount. So we are living in a world where the marginal labor mobility, I mean this type of well, basically the movement between different countries have become more and more common, and it is start to, as I told before, go down to the all groups in the society. And usually push and pull factors are talked on when also this the labor mobility is studied. So here you see actually both factors together. I mean, low wages in one country and high wages in the other country. But very well, it can be also the living conditions. I mean, if you are earning a high amount of money in one country, living conditions in the country might be better off, and sometimes you cannot buy those living conditions just by using money. For example, well, environment might be, or the air might be more clean in the cities where you are going, or the overall social rules and attitudes might be better off. And unless you are very, very rich, you might not necessarily be able to escape from the social norms and rules just because you are earning, let's say, a pretty good amount of income, but not enough to escape from the norms. And in that case, actually, both push and pull factors might be playing on. I mean, the unfavorable conditions in one country, which might also, in some cases, it might also be, by the way, the job or the training you got might not give you in the country where you are living. You might not be able to have sufficient job opportunities. So basically, it might be very well possible when we have segmented labor markets. Foreign labor markets might provide job opportunities for some skilled labor, while domestic labor markets are not providing it. But well, in the real world, an increasing amount of unskilled workers are also going to the developed countries, and in some cases also developing countries. And to some extent, this might also be explained by the fact that the countries we are talking on give some protections to their their workers, as well as some wealth accumulation has happened in those countries. This might even be true for some of the developing countries, which are relatively better off, which might be taught as emerging countries. So the potential fall of the working conditions and wages in those countries might be limited. And especially in some sectors where usually the products are cheap, the necessity to find workers who are demanding sufficiently low wage might be important. I mean, in case of iPhone, okay, you might not necessarily find cheap labor to produce iPhone. Even there, I mean, it is advantages, and basically you might do that. But at least you can sell iPhone for a high amount of money. But if you are producing apples, for example, or grain, well, you need to the price of what you sell is traditionally low, and you rather want to keep it low. But in order to keep it low, the workforce you are hiring should not demand high wages, and that workforce might not be available in the country because of the protections of the citizens of that country. Well, I mean, especially if that work is also very demanding job, like harvest, for which you might need to work under the hot weather for a long time. You might not be able to find people from your own country, and you might need to fall back to people from a different country. This might even, to some extent, true also for the skilled jobs. I mean, skilled workers from a different country might accept much inferior work conditions and also wages for an engineer compared with an engineer, for example, in a developed country. Of course, I mean, it might be possible in some cases, for the countries to maintain this existing labor force that they are actually getting from a different country, relatively in certain sectors, and don't let them to go and work in other sectors. But in some cases, economic pressures might very well force them to do so, which in that case, the workforce you got from other countries starts to affect the working conditions and wage of the people of the other country, and as it starts to invade all sectors in the country. And that's the case when people will start to complain about this foreign labor force. You can organize them, and you can give the same protections and same rights to that labor force, but not necessarily. I mean, lack of communication between the incoming workforce and the existing workforce in the country may prevent, at least for a while, for these two groups to communicate with each other and find some common grounds for cooperation. So, potential effects on the global labor force is a basic question, especially whether it will in time make this. So basically, I mean, this table might be partially, I mean, even when the foreign labor force might go to the country, they might at first be actually act as a different input and with relatively low, to which actually relatively low wages paid. So initially, the marginal productivity of labor of the domestic labor force and foreign labor force might be partially kept separated from each other. Well, so what are the potential effects on the global labor force? Will they actually, does it allow, does the labor mobility allow them to meet with each other, communicate with each other, and learn how to cooperate with each other? Does it merge the global labor force into a single labor force, which might increase productivity and cooperation of the people of the world? That's a big question. Actually, in one of the Friedman's videos, it says actually, because of the capital mobility, which was a little bit more dominant in the 1980s. For example, production of this phone was done by different workers in different countries who don't know each other, who might even hate with each other. That's because a factory exists in China, another factory might exist in India, another factory might exist in Pakistan, and basically different parts of the iPhone might be produced in those different factories and be assembled, for example, let's say in an African country. However, now all of these people of these countries are in United States, or in some cases, for example, in Japan. Does this create a ground for cooperation of workers of India, Africa, Pakistan, and China? Or are they, even when the workers work in the same factory, basically workers from different people work with the same factory, also with the natives of a country, are they bound to stay separate? Are they bound to always be a separate people compared with the natives? And is there the cooperation with the workforce will be only done through the companies and through the capital, basically? That's a very big question. And also, in that case, does it mean that the companies can bid one workforce to another, basically, and degrade the working conditions and wages of the workers? Or maybe use from each labor force, considering, taking into account the advantages or the basic skills exist in each different different workers of each different country. So that they can use let's say a variety of skills that are available now in each country. Those are the questions, and also if the workers can learn from each other, then they might also improve their skills, and even now it might be more possible for the workers to go to a country where they are more productive, and basically. This availability of the labor mobility might even increase both the productivity of the global workforce and also the revenue they got, if that's the case. If each worker has power to find a place where they are relatively more productive. And it might also increase the cooperation between the countries, and as cooperation between the countries increase, that might also increase the knowledge base, skill base of the world. Maybe even to each of the skills and professions, people who are most skills for those skills and professions can come in, rather than the ones whose countries are offering proper education and proper training, and maybe even proper family upbringing necessary for that, or culture necessary for development of those skills. So the extent of how this labor mobility will actually develop the world economy is another important questions related to global economy.